Hello, everybody, and welcome to our third official Amohdoh and DGG's podcast update game development thingamajigger, which we do on http:// youtube.com/amohdoh.com. That's AMOHDOH. Or check us out at amohdoh.com/games. Woo!
Oh, Gabe, what are we talking in this podcast?
Today we're gonna go over some things that we didn't go over in the other podcast, obviously. Um, yeah, we're gonna be clarifying some things in from other podcasts that you may not have understood, whether it had been last podcast, which the audio had problems, or basically anything else.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. About the other podcast, the second podcast. I think the other podcast was ashamed that you get the Gabe's voice get echoing because I think it was a really good one. We explored a really valued points. So if we get any complaints, like if you really think you want to listen to that podcast again, we could try to write it down, the podcast. So
Yeah, like word for word script and then completely redo it. But
yeah,
that's only if you guys really think it's that big of a deal.
yeah, that's really in. We get a lot of complaints because I'm not even joking. That podcast was really interesting, and we did go over a lot of important topics. But that's not today's podcast, so let's continue.
Okay, so starting off, if you have been visiting the Amohdoh website, you may have noticed that the login button in the top right corner looks a little bit different. That is because over last weekend, I set up the login and sign up system, which was kind of a pain because of encryption and stuff, but it's all set up now. It's not really pretty and it doesn't exactly have a use yet, but you can go ahead and sign up for an Amohdoh account in case you want to claim a name so that no one steals your favorite username or whatever, because there's no such, like, in Amohdoh, you can't have the same username as someone else. So yeah, go ahead and sign up.
Yeah,
And also, there's been troubles with the emails lately, which I'm going to try to figure it out. But it seems that it's Gmail and Hotmail. The confirmation email probably goes to spam. It's about 80% chance to go to spam. So yeah, always check your spam for that confirmation email. It takes around 2 minutes to get there, but yeah.
yeah. So it's really important to have that Amohdoh account. So otherwise you won't be able to have the game because we didn't because we're an independent team. We don't have a company. Kind of have Amohdoh, but that's the only way to get the game. It's not available in stores. You can only get it by buying it in Amohdoh online. It's completely safe. You can trust us.
Yeah. Speaking of safeness, I'm thinking of with the game, it will maybe, like, there's a chance it might go through PayPal. So if you have a PayPal account or a bank account linked with PayPal, there you go. We're gonna try to make it as easy and accessible as possible. We want everyone to be able to get this game. So yeah, yeah. As of right now, it's probably, like, we're not planning on having it on Steam, but if it's successful, we'll definitely apply to put it on Steam.
Yeah, I don't see any issue on put the game on Steam. So about the today's podcast, we're trying to go like talk a little about what we're attempt to do in the future, like our plans for this YouTube account. In this case, it's where you're watching us right now.
Yeah. We're gonna try to outline the future for this YouTube account, the future for Amohdoh, and the future for a game. In case you had any difficulties with understanding anything last episode, we're gonna try to go over that too. So yeah, basically, this episode's all about the future. We're hoping that maybe in the next like couple episodes we'll start getting a little bit personal and you guys can get to know us a little better. But as of right now, we want you
Definitely.
guys to have a solid idea of what our vision is, like our company's vision is, and our plans for the game that we're rolling out.
Yeah, I think we should uh, talk again what we said in the other podcast. They probably didn't understand that well. The part like when we are saying that our price, we already defined a price for this game. Are we revealing the price in this podcast, or should we reveal in the other?
Well, yeah, we already revealed it last podcast, so why not? In case you guys like, I understand if you guys got annoyed by last episode, just the sound. It kind of bothered me too, but I got used to it. But I don't know about you. So in case you just skimmed over it or you just didn't listen to it at all because of that sound, um, last episode we discussed the pricing for our game and if it would be free or not. Unfortunately, this game isn't going to be free, but we explained that all the money is going to be put towards like our education and stuff. Like, it's not being wasted on anything.
Yeah,
And as
that
soon as like,
we talked about that last podcast, and we I don't think we exactly said the exactly price, did we?
no, I think we did. I think yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
We did,
But
but
no, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But me and Duarte went over it after that podcast, and I think we're 100% sure what we're gonna do right now.
yeah,
If you want to
and
explain.
Gabe was talking about we're gonna spend the money in our education, and besides the fact like doing a game, it's something not that easy, and it requires a lot of materials. For example, using the software that we're using, we need to pay for them. They're not like in order to do 3D models. Not all the programs that we use are free, so that's something that is getting out of our pocket. It's not.
Yes, and Duarte, may I add the songs? Like licensing is not cheap if you guys did not know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. There was some. I was planning on putting plenty of songs in our game, like just part of songs, but now we're thinking more like putting a full song or using the same song in very parts of the game because songs who have rights, who have uh, record rights, it's really hard to get them for free. Not to say impossible, because getting the rights for a song to put in a game is something that's not properly cheap, and that's part of the money we're gonna receive for the game. It's definitely going to cover that part.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just how it is, and that's something we can't change. If we, which obviously it is, if it's a song that we find is perfect for our game,
Yeah.
lyrically, the mood, everything, we're willing to pay. We're not gonna change our script around a song. We're willing to pay, but that's just how it is. If it charges us, like $300 out of our pocket, uh, we're not. We don't have like full-time jobs here. That's a
I don't
lot of
even have a
money.
job. I'm in my country. I can't. I don't know if you know. Like we already said, I live in Portugal. Gabe lives in Canada. In my country, I'm not even have legal age to work. It's illegal to work in my age. So
Plus, if you did have legal age,
yeah, no, the full time we can't have full time jobs. We're studying, and it's something that's getting the money. It's gonna be really hard if we didn't get the game to sell well.
oh, and by the way, in case like we got you anticipated because we started mentioning the price of the game and we didn't mention it. Um, Duarte, do you want to say the price of the game we went over?
Yeah. So it's so our plan like it's probably gonna change to like this is our first game. So probably in our second game, probably be cheap or I don't think will be more expensive the total price of this game. Because this gonna be a different game. than probably all others that we're gonna make, because this game will be five chapters like we talked about last podcast. First gonna be England, Portugal, Spain, France, and Morocco. So we're thinking on revealing for England and Portugal, $20, euros, depending on where you live. That's gonna be the first prize for those two chapters, and then so we can like
The two chapters. Sorry for interrupting. The two chapters meeting England and Portugal.
Portugal, yeah. It's gonna be $20 together, and then for Spain, France, and Morocco, $8 each. That's and for the size of our game, I think it's pretty cheap. Like,
No, I'm pretty. Wait, wasn't it $4 each?
was $4 each? Are you sure? It
Wasn't
wasn't
eight?
like 44 full price.
Yeah,
So it's 8, not 4.
I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, eight. Yeah, so basically you're paying $20 for two chapters, then $8 per separate chapter, which you may think is really expensive for an indie game.
Yeah,
Um,
but for the
like the amount
size,
of
for the size of
hours.
our game, and for the work of two guys team, it's not something that I think is not that expensive.
Yeah, basically it's a year and a half of in the end it's probably going to be over a year and a half of daily work by two individuals. So
Yeah,
plus you got to consider the licensing like we just said. So
yeah.
yeah.
For
We're
for a
hoping that
first game, sorry to for a first game, it has to be this price. Otherwise, we won't be able to future games to have access to song rights, uh, softwares, programs, all of those things that cost money, and who knows, probably expand our team to one more member, or two or three or whatever, because we're just still doing uh, a game which is not that simple to do in the timeline that we expect to do it.
yes, and I hope the price isn't overwhelming, but keep in mind we will have either a one chapter or a half chapter demo. We will have sales, maybe even promos, or what is it? Like we'll try to sponsor stuff or whatever, do giveaways. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're
we're gonna
trying to
try to
make
give away as many free copies as possible, and like although we do have a little bit of a high price for an indie game, we're gonna try to like, you know, lower the price, like not by lowering the price, but by giving away free titles.
yeah, and we're gonna release an online of the game will be you're gonna be able to play it online since it's a computer game. I think it totally makes sense. So for an indie game who has a story mode and an online version, I think it's for our first game, since we need the money for licensing, uh, up I don't know how to say the word. Can you help me here? Like
What's the
make our
word?
computers better. Like,
Upgrade?
yeah, upgrade our computers with better um better how do you oh my god, I'm so embarrassed.
Hardware?
Yeah, and inside part of the computer that we need to make better quality in our game. So for a first game, I think it's not something that it's really. I think that's the only way to by now to make it, because otherwise we won't be able to have money to do the other game.
Yes, exactly. Um, yeah, I think you basically just covered everything there. Moving on to a next topic. Oh yes. So we did overview our kind of our vision for this game in the first episode about how it's going to be kind of a hybrid between a movie and a game.
Yeah.
Although we did explain that, I don't think we really went over what we meant by that. So basically what we meant by movie slash game does not mean that it's going to be like an hour long movie and then you get to play a scene and it's another, like it's not going to be like that.
No,
It's
that
going to be like It's gonna be like any normal game, except it has a little bit longer cutscenes.
Well,
So
that's not exactly. It's more like make it more, make it different. Try to make it different. It does not need to be necessarily bigger than, does not need to be a necessarily big cutscene. We're just trying to make it like, uh, like Gabe said, a between a movie and a game. So, you know, have a really good cutscenes. That's kind of like, that's something that we would like to happen. Have good cutscenes.
yeah, and not only is it like good cutscenes or whatever, it's like we're focusing on a storyline. We're like I know a lot of people are like, oh, every game has a story, every campaign game has a storyline. Yes, it does. But not only is ours a storyline, it's like it doesn't focus around killing or
Yeah,
like
we're
see how
trying to
many
make a
people you get.
historical accurate.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna try to like like a story, a novel, a movie, a poem, anything like any piece of art. This could be probably, I might sound a little bit corny saying this, but probably more a piece of art than it would be considered a game.
That's a big thing. Uh, yeah, we're trying to make something like really deep. Like our cutscenes, try to make it deep as we can, and I mentioned before, make it historical accurate. If our game is the storyline of our game is between around 1370s, 1380s, and 1420s. There was wars. If we're talking about England, of course there was wars in that time, but in order to make it a fun game, we need to run a little bit around the fact of being totally historical accurate. We're trying to like, we're going to add wars that never happened, but overall it'll be fun to play.
Yeah, and one final point, it's kind of like it's not like a game slash movie, and it's not a movie slash game. It's kind of a game that has some of the same attributes as a movie that
Yeah.
you normally wouldn't find in a game.
Yeah, like before this podcast, Gabe was talking about uh he was talking about a movie he really enjoyed it and feel really connect with the characters. You probably know the movie. What's the name, Gabe?
It was Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I think everyone who saw the movie get really into gets you get really close to the characters. I don't want to spoil it, but every time a member of that team dies, I think you you get sad. Like personal experience, I get sad for a few deaths in that movie. So we're trying to kind of, we're not trying to make you sad, or we're just trying to make you love the characters, make you connect to
Yeah,
the characters.
we wanna make you feel like the protagonist, not make you feel like you're playing as the protagonist. We want you to feel like you have a connection with someone, not you playing as someone who has a connection with someone.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, so wrapping this whole podcast up, uh, one final point is open source. Now, a lot of you may be open source advocates or whatever. If you don't know what it is, it's basically when you make a game and you make the code available for everyone and they can redistribute or whatever. Unfortunately, this game will not be open source. Not only because of the way we're making the game, but it's just it's simply something we can't afford. And I don't want to look like we're like huge like capitalists or like big supporters of proprietary software, but there's just some things that don't work out. But I promise you, in the future, Amohdoh will have many open source games. So yeah, all the social media links will be down below in the description. Facebook's, Twitter's, YouTube's, websites, everything will be down below. And make sure to subscribe to, or not sorry, not no, no, I am sorry. Please make sure to follow Twitter. No, my God, follow Amohdoh on Twitter because at the end of next week, that is right, Friday of next week, that being the I don't know. What is that? That's
I
the
think it's
5th of December.
5th
5th of
of
December.
December.
Yeah. On the 5th of December, I'll be releasing a very early development screenshot. Just so you guys can have a feel of how the graphics are gonna look. So, yeah.
This is basic graphics. It'll probably change. It'll be better eventually. It's
Yeah,
just
it's just so like you can see how far ahead we are right now. I know we're talking a lot and then but, like you don't get to see it. So
yeah, yeah,
make sure to follow us on Twitter. It will be up there in exactly a week.
yeah. I think f just to reveal our next podcast idea would probably next podcast we'll reveal some games that we kind of want your feedback. If like when we reveal our songs that we're thinking on putting in the game, like our ga- game theme, just just give your feedback, see if you like it.
Exactly. And actually next episode we might also have our first ever quiz or not only not quiz but more of a poll. So you guys get to decide a feature of the game. So we'll discuss something this week and by next Friday we'll have a feature that whichever one receives more votes will be implemented to the game.
Yeah. Uh, so I think that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for listening. Stay tuned on all our social media to keep in touch. Bye bye.